What is up, guys? My name is Zach. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, and welcome to the day 166 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season, where we talk about everything that went down from the previous day in the NBA. That being said, no news to cover today, which is going to lead me to say this. You know, there really isn't much news around this time of the year with the teams gearing up for playoffs. That's mainly the main topic of discussion. So why should it be anything different today? There is a lot to talk about when it comes to the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference, with a bunch of teams still fighting for positioning, including trying to get the A seed, and all of those teams playing tonight too. That's what we're going to talk about, and then I'll have the question of the day at the end of the video, since it will make more sense for today's video. But now with that out of the way, let's just hop into all the games that did happen last night. So game one of the standing situation in the East, Miami versus Washington. The Wizards still have a chance to pass Toronto to get the number 3 seed, and the Heat trying their very best to get into the playoffs, period. As before this game, they were one game behind both Indiana and Chicago for the A seed. And as it would turn out in this one, Miami was just way too much for the Wizards to handle in the paint last night, as they scored 50 points in the paint, and a large part of that had to do with Hassan Whiteside, who contributed for 30 of those points. Actually, well, I guess it was 24, since 6 of his points were also free throws. Still though, Whiteside with a great offensive performance, capped off by 12 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks, one of them being a game-sealing block on Bradley Beal's 3-point attempt in the final seconds. Tyler Johnson was big off the bench as well again for Miami last night with 19, and Dragic had 18 points and 7 assists. Meanwhile, Markieff Morris scored 21, and Wall had 16 points and 8 assists for Washington. The Heat may have won last night, which is step 1 into getting into the A seed in the Eastern Conference. However, in order for their winning to matter, they need either the Pacers or the Bulls to slip up a bit in these final games of the season. And unfortunately for them, the Pacers were not about to slip up last night against the Magic. And as you can probably guess, Indy was able to pull off a pretty easy 127-112 win to keep themselves a game ahead of Miami for their seed in the playoffs. Paul George continues the tear that he's been on for quite a while now, as he had 37 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Miles Turner also played well with 23 points and 10 rebounds. And Lance Stephenson, who hasn't had like any huge night since the return to Indiana, has seemingly had a positive effect on the team, at least, since they are now 3-1 in games that he's played in, with the one loss being that double OT loss to Cleveland. Evan Fournier had 23, and Terrence Ross scored 29 for Orlando. The final piece to the trilogy, the Bulls, the third team fighting for the playoff spot in the East. And the Heat desperately needed Chicago to lose this one, or else their chances of making the playoffs will be extremely slim. But you know, Chicago's opponents were the Brooklyn Nets, who have lost 3 times as many games as they have won this year. And on top of that, Dwayne Wade was also set to return to the starting lineup for Chicago last night. And just those couple of things alone would probably have been enough to convince any rational person that Chicago would be able to come away with an easy win in this one and put Miami on the brink of elimination. But the Bulls do have a tendency to lose to teams that they really shouldn't lose to. For example, last night when they did fall to Brooklyn 107-106, thanks to some clutch free throw shooting by ex-Bull Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie had 19, as did rookie Karis LeVert for the Nets. For Chicago, Jimmy Butler was amazing again with 33 points and 7 rebounds, but Wade was unable to play in the fourth because he was basically tired, he said, saying that he was still trying to get his legs back. He had 14 points and 7 rebounds, and Chicago is now tied with Miami for the AC, but they do hold the tiebreakers against Miami just in case the two teams do finish with the same record. Well, now that we got those 3 games out the way, I guess this time is as good as any to talk about the Hornets versus Celtics, as even if the Hornets did win this game, it didn't matter, since with Miami and Indy winning, both the Hornets and the Pistons have been automatically eliminated from playoff contention. And with that in mind, you know, it's actually a good thing for Hornets that they lost too, since now they can get a head start on Detroit when it comes to trying to get the best draft pick possible. 121-114 was the final score, with Isaiah Thomas scoring up a storm once again for the Celtics, as he drops 32 points and has 6 assists, while Al Horford has 16 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. That guy is a guard trapped in the body of a center, I swear. How do you not get rebounds when you're that? It doesn't make sense. Nick Batum had 31, and Kemba Walker had 23 points and 8 assists for the Hornets. The Jazz trying to hold on to their number 4 seed, and the Blazers trying to come one step closer to clinching the 8th seed in the West. And I'm not even going to hold y'all up on this one, because from the very beginning, Damian Lillard was taking no part of a loss last night. He knows what's on the line here, and as we've all seen before, when there is something on the line, you can typically expect Lillard to bring his A game. Damian Lillard absolutely torched the Jazz last night en route to an easy 101-86 win. Keep in mind this was against one of the best defenses in the league. Lillard dropped a career and franchise high 59 points last night on 18 of 34 shooting, including hitting 9 triples to go along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists and 0 turnovers. And this team really needed him to have a performance like that last night too, since really no one else on the team could make a bucket. And now with this win, the Nuggets are on the brink of elimination. If the Blazers win one more or the Nuggets lose, it's a wrap. Gordon Hayward scored 21 for Utah. Another team still fighting for position is the Clippers, not nearly as intensely as the team fighting for the 8th seed in the East, but you know, they're still chasing Utah for the 4th seed to determine which of them ends up with home court advantage in the first round. And the Spurs, on the other hand, have already clinched the 2nd seed in the West, so you know, they're just chilling. But after basically all the starters took the game off in the Spurs' last game against the Mavs, they all laced up last night, and the Clippers still got the 98-87 win. And with this win, the Clippers do now hold the 4th seed in the West due to tiebreakers with the Jazz. Chris Paul with a near triple-double of 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, and DeAndre Jordan was sneaking up on a 2020 game as he had 17 points and 17 rebounds. Kawhi Leonard had 28 for San Antonio. Basically the same story for the Bucks as the Clippers, you know, still fighting for positioning in the East, but it just doesn't mean, you know, nearly as much. Coming into this one, they are a full game behind Atlanta for the 4th seed in the East, and with the 90-82 win over Philly, they are now only a half game behind Atlanta. Giannis did what he always does for the Bucks once again last night, you know, which is everything. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Still crazy to think that he leads the team in every statistical category this year, while Monroe also had 17 off the bench. Meanwhile for Philly, Dario Saric had 14 points and 8 rebounds, and Richaun Holmes had 17 points and 10 rebounds. Stephen Curry out with a bruised knee. DeMarcus Cousins out with a sore Achilles. Anthony Davis out with a sore knee. With just that alone, this game most likely wouldn't have been worth watching, but all of those players may have been out, but Kevin Durant came back. And of course, you know, the Warriors still got the win to extend their win streak to 14 games, but the main story of this game was Durant coming back. And in his comeback, Durant had 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Klay Thompson had 20. But it was the Warriors bench that did the heavy lifting last night, with big contributions from Iggy in his 15, McGee in his 16, and Clark in his 17. Meanwhile, for the bench for the Pelicans did the most too, with Jordan Crawford having 21 and Quinn Cook having 22. So now that we got the games out the way, today's question of the day is going to be, who do you guys see ending up with the 7th and the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference between Chicago, Indiana, or Miami? Two of those teams will make it, one of those teams don't. Just a quick recap, Indiana currently has a 1-game lead on both Chicago and Miami with 2 games left to go in the season. Chicago and Miami are both tied for the number 8 seed, with Chicago holding the tiebreaker. To me, honestly, I have no idea. Seriously, anything could happen. If Indiana loses and Miami wins, then Miami becomes the 8th seed. Indiana goes down to the 9th seed. It's a very interesting situation. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen down in the comment section below. But now let's take a look at what you guys said from yesterday's video. Yesterday, after Gordon Hayward scored a career high 39 points the day after LeVar Ball said that, you know, basically the white guys don't have the foot speed or whatever to play basketball, I asked you if you thought that Hayward was motivated by these words or if it was just a coincidence. What LeVar said was so disrespectful, because TJ Leaf was one of the white guys that helped them lose apparently, and he outperformed Lonzo as he put up 17 points and 7 rebounds on 7-11 shooting from the field and 1 of 1 from 3. Meanwhile, Lonzo didn't show up, scoring 10 points on 4 of 10 from the field and 1 of 6 from 3. LeVar needs to stop blaming his teammates and needs to admit his son didn't show up, and what Gordon Hayward did was probably to say white guys can't hoop, and Gordon is the best white player in the NBA. I think it was just coincidence that Hayward dropped 39. If anything, I think Hayward would drop at least 45 if he was trying to prove a point. Gordon Hayward doesn't have to prove anything to a guy that averaged 2.4 points a game. Old man's on crack, simple. But this response killed me. 2.2. Alright, so as it turns out, most of you guys did believe it was a coincidence, which is fair. If anything, I guess you could say that it was a bit ironic that Gordon Hayward went off for a career high after LeVar Ball made those comments. But overall, just the gist of it is that what LeVar Ball said was extremely disrespectful. I mean, I don't care how great you think your son is, that gives you no right to put down his teammates. And that about wraps up all the action for the day 166 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. And now it's time to get into the player of the day. Yesterday, you guys selected Gordon Hayward and his 39 points and 5 assists as your player of the day, and here are today's nominees, even though I'm not even sure why I'm doing this because I'm pretty sure I know who you guys are going to pick. But here it goes anyways. You have Damian Lillard and his 59 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Isaiah Thomas and his 32 points and 6 assists. Hassan Whiteside and his 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Giannis Antetokounmpo and his 20 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Paul George and his 37 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Or Chris Paul and his 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. You guys can go vote for Damian Lillard, the player of the day, by following the straw poll link in the description box below. But other than that, thank you once again for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on it and subscribe if you haven't already for more daily NBA videos. Until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!